Michael Jordan hoodie on check. I just feel like greatest today. Black Scully on check. It must be week 2 of the college football season. We have so much to talk about today. Where will I be this weekend? Y'all know the rules. I'll tell you after the intro. Nebraska versus Colorado preview. Even before Colorado won the game last week versus TCU, I had this game circled. It was one of the games that I wanted to see, being that this is one of those former Big 12 matchup. These two teams used to duel. And to see one of those old matchups that you remember in your childhood come to fruition now is just one of those things you can't wait to see. Oregon versus Texas Tech, two teams from opposite ends of the spectrum. We seen Oregon put up Black Mamba last week. Texas Tech lost in heartbreaking fashion to Wyoming. But I believe this will be a much better game than advertised. And then also the game of the week, possibly the game of the year, Texas versus Alabama. For those of us who do this thing 24/7, no off season, this is a game we've been talking about all off season, my apologies. I believe that this game has a lot of input on the college football playoff. I'll explain that a little bit later. Governor College Football, hashtag GOCFb, CFB Nation, your only college football destination. Let's get it. Welcome to the Governor College Football. We are getting closer to fall, and oh, how much I do love the fall season. It's just spectacular. Like we're not there yet, but it just felt great this morning. Me and my fiance woke up, got some Starbucks this morning, started my morning off right, was able to prepare this show for you that I have here for you today. I'm just excited about the slate of games we have this season and this week in particular. Let's start with this Nebraska and Colorado game. Colorado sent the app formerly known as Twitter into a frenzy last week. You had to be sleeping under a rock. There was no NFL, so people who are normally like fantasy experts or NFL experts, they were watching a game that we love. It's a little bittersweet. We're glad that there's more eyes on the sport that we love, but get away from our sport. This is our sport, and we love it. So the main issue that I had, and if you've seen Overreaction Monday, you've seen me kind of go off a little bit, is that people were predicting that TCU was going to beat the crap out of Colorado. People said that Colorado had the worst roster in the sport. You know, people were having issues with all the transfers that Coach Prime brought in. I'm just like, yo, y'all say all of that, and then Colorado wins, and then you question TCU's talent. It's just crazy to me. Like, you know, I guess some people would do anything not to get dunked on. So if that's how they respond to that, that's how they respond to that. I could care less. Offensive coordinator Sean Lewis called one hell of a game last weekend versus TCU. It was beautiful. He took advantage of TCU defensive coordinator Joe Gillespie's aggressiveness, utilized the screen game, and he was dialing up perfect play call at the perfect time and time again. And they killed TCU's man defense. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Nebraska tried to disguise their coverages a little bit more and also ran a lot of zone defense this weekend. Shedeur Sanders seized the moment last week versus TCU. And more importantly, yes, he's the all-time single game passing yardage leader. Did that in his first game. And let me not sit here and lie to you guys. He kind of played low division high school football. He was at Jackson State, an FCS school. First few years of college, I was like, can he do this on the big stage? Can he do this versus top-tier Power 5 programs? And he proved, yes, he can. But the thing that impressed me most about him is when he had a clean pocket, time to throw last week, 30 or 34. And get this, his time to throw was 1.98 seconds. That is phenomenal. That's Tony Romo-esque. And you guys know how I feel about Tony Romo. He was getting rid of the ball. I love to see it. Travis Hunter must see TV. We all seen the graphic, how many plays he had last week playing offensively and defensively. I believe that Dion and staff are going to do their best job to make sure he's protected, because we say, like, yo, how long can he realistically do this before he's cramping in games, he's hurting himself? I believe they're going to take a similar approach without missing games than you see like the Spurs and the Clippers do with Kawhi Leonard, where he's not going to practice for what? It's going to be like Allen Iverson type of ordeal. He'll be on the field during the walkthroughs and all of that type of stuff, but no contact. They are saving him up for Saturdays, for sure. Couple questions that I have when I look at this Buffalo team is, how will they fare against physical teams? Teams like Oregon State, Utah, they're going to the Big 12, of course, next season. They just got that makeup of an SEC team. They go out there, they smack you around. A team that is willing to run that rock, like we seen Oregon State do last year against Oregon, and that come from behind victory where they just handed the ball off. Teams like that, I fear, I'm like Colorado, may get killed in time of possession. How will they fare against a Nebraska team that is going to be coming to town that knows how to run the rock? But let's talk more about the playmakers for the Buffaloes. So Jimmy Horn Jr. had a game last week, just like his Paul. He had 11 catches, 117 yards. Dylan Edwards, even though I like to see him be more effective when running the rock, but he was electrifying out of the backfield as a pass catcher. 135 yards on 5 catches. We talked about Travis Hunter earlier. He added in 11 catches, and then Xavier Weaver added in 6 catches for 118 yards. They have guys on the outside who can make plays. More importantly, they have guys that you can throw a 5-yard route to that can turn that thing up for 20, 25-plus yards. That is dangerous. That is very dangerous. And earlier I alluded to Colorado, like, kind of being manhandled last week. We seen TCU running back Imani Bailey. He went for 164 on just 14 carries last week. That scares me. And the reason why that scares me is because you got Jeff Sims, a quarterback that can run. You got running back Gabe Irvin and Anthony Grant. Those two are electrifying outside of the backfield. Matt Rhule and company are going to force Colorado to stop the run. And they're going to test it, make sure you can stop the run. And I'm sure Deion Sanders are coming like, hey, they seen what Imani Bailey did to us last week. Let's get this fixed. So I'm sure that's what they've been working on. And they got players on the back end. So I'm sure they've been working on trying to shore up their run defense. Nebraska, I mentioned it in the opening. They lost a heartbreaking fashion to the Golden Gophers last week. The things that stood out to me were the turnovers, timely turnovers, 3 interceptions, the 1 lost fumble. But also what was important was the penalties. Like, football is a game within a game. You hear people say that, you don't really know what it means. It just truly means minimize mistakes. If you can minimize mistakes in a sport that is survive and advance, because that's what college football is. I know they say with college basketball, during conference tournaments, and I ain't hating on college basketball, during conference tournaments and during the NCAA March Madness tournament, but college football is truly survive and advance. If you want to win a national title, it's survive and advance. You may have one opportunity to lose, and more than likely, you better pray it's in September. And if it's November, you better run through your regular season. You better play in a conference that matters. And if you lose your conference championship, don't lose it by a lot, because maybe the committee will be favorable to you. This is the sport that we love. It's survive and advance. The regular season is chaos. The moment you think you know something, you don't know it. That is this sport that we know and love. So let's talk about the wide receiver trio for Nebraska. Let's talk about Marcus Washington. Let's talk about Alex Bullock and Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. They are a formidable trio. The key will Jeff Sims having easier reads. We're gonna may have to simplify things for him, and then also getting a running game going so you can set up pass action. That's what's going to be important. Defensively, the players to watch for the Cornhuskers. Luke Reamer is a dog. He is a dog, and I like. Speaking of dogs, I like how Deion Sanders didn't have captain on Travis Hunter jersey. He had a D for dog. I just thought that was super dope. The spread for this game is Colorado's a favorite by 3. I think the odd makers out west are a little unsure of this game. They don't know what to think of Colorado. They're like, yo, it's one game. We didn't expect this team to do well. Okay. Nebraska, hate it or love it. Yes, they got a loss. Yes, there's no more victories in the sport that survive and advance. But they didn't look too terrible last week. I think if Nebraska win this game, it's because they had favorable down and distances. Their success rate was somewhere in the mid-50s, both offensively and then defensively, maybe low 40s, maybe mid-30s. I think that's just the success to winning this game for Nebraska, and also time of possession, keeping the ball out of Shedeur Sanders' hands. I can't believe I'm saying that in this week 2. That'll be the key. But give me Colorado. I'm taking them on the spread. I think that this team could be 3-0 when they face Oregon week 4. And I think that would be fantabulous. Moving right along, let's get into this next game. That's right, we're talking about Oregon versus Texas Tech. This shall be interesting. This is going to be a good game. And I'm going to caution anybody of the media, anybody that are fans of Oregon. Yes, you've seen Texas Tech lose in heartbreaking fashion last week, but this is a damn good football team. I've been banging the table this offseason talking about Jerron Bradley and how I believe Jerron Bradley is going to have a breakout season this year. Had 8 catches, I believe it's like 88 yards last week against Wyoming. I think there's room for improvement as it pertains to this game. So, this game is going to mean so much to Tyler Shough. So much. I want to see it, and granted, I never even told you guys where I was going this week. I'll be at the Virginia Tech-Purdue game. Seeing the same man in person is going to be crazy. But anyway, I can only imagine the slew of emotions Tyler Shough is going to go through. Granted, he's a mature dude. He'll be turning 24 soon. I just can't imagine that. Like, to play for a team, go against your team, a lot of people going to be against them, even though it's in Lubbock. But I'm just saying, like, this is going to be a moment for Tyler Shough. It's truly going to be a moment for him. So how does he handle all of those emotions and treat it like it's just another game when, truth be told, it's not just another game? And I want to say, for the record, I believe that Texas Tech is a damn good team. I had them as one of my kind of underdogs this year. A team that you should be watching. This is a must-win game for Texas Tech. How does Tyler Shough go against his former team, contain those emotions, and then be surging like this game? That's kind of the question I have. So I told you guys about Jerron Bradley. My biggest issue with the Texas Tech's loss to Wyoming was their inability to run the ball on a team that I felt like they should have been able to run the ball on. No running back had more than 39 yards, and Shough had like 36 yards, or averaged more than 3.5 yards per carry. This can't happen, and I'm sure Red Raider Nation is saying the same thing. They got to be able to run the ball. We know you guys can pass the rock, but they got to be able to run the ball. The key offensively for Texas Tech will be selective tempo. They say, well, Governor, what do you mean by selective tempo? When I say selective tempo, I don't mean go, 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 go. That's not what I mean. Bo Nix is on the other sideline, and bro is dangerous. He's very dangerous. So, what I mean by selective tempo is knowing when to speed things up and knowing when to slow things down. That's what I mean by selective tempo. Because, hey, if Bo Nix is hot, he out there striking, you guys got to be able to slow things down and still get first down, still move the ball down the field. Selective tempo is going to be key if Texas Tech and company has any chance of winning this game. Tyler Shough, do not try to win a game on every throw. I know you're going against your old team. I know you want this one bad. I know how bad you want. I can even see it post-game. Texas Tech somehow find a way to win this game. Joey McGuire's in the locker room, giving them their post-game speech, telling them how great they played. And there's only one game ball going out. If they win this game, if Texas Tech find a way to win this game tomorrow, it's only one game ball going out. And that game ball will go to Tyler Shough, no matter how good or bad he plays. This game means that much to that kid. Defensively for Texas Tech, players that need to be impactful. Jalen Hutchins needs to be a problem on the defensive line. He did have 1 sack last week. And on the back end, Rashad Williams. Those players have to be impact players. It's that simple. And defensively overall, Texas Tech got to find a way to get to Bo Nix, and guess what? Not a lot of teams were able to do it. The mighty Georgia team, even though they dominated Oregon last year, they didn't sack Bo Nix. Bo Nix was only sacked 4 times last year. It's difficult to get to this dude. He is protected, and one thing that he does well is he gets rid of the ball. I think if Texas Tech has a chance to get to this game, they're going to have to do something everybody struggles with, and that is getting pressure on Bo Nix. Even if you don't get a sack, get pressures, knock them down, hurries. Everything matters in this game. You got to get to him some way, somehow. Let's move over to the Oregon side of things. As much as we talk about Oregon and we talk about the Bo Nixes and the Troy Franklins, I believe Bucky Irvin is the heart and soul of this Oregon Ducks team. And not enough people, I don't want to say not a lot of people talking about it. Not enough people are talking about him. He had over 1,000 yards last season, had 119 yards last week, and just 4 carries. When Oregon is balanced, they're one of the best teams in the nation. So people who have the Oregon Ducks either outside looking in or in their college football playoff, I can see it, because if they're balanced, they are dangerous. That simple. I mentioned Troy Franklin a little bit earlier, but he's another impact player for the Ducks at wideout. He had 106 yards last week, 2 touchdowns, had 9 TDs a season ago. Oregon has always been able to score points. That is no secret. But knowing who Dan Lanning is, knowing what Dan Lanning stands for, who Taj Lupoy is, knowing what he stands for in their second season together, 2 great defensive minds, they have to be better on that side of the ball. They have to be better this side of the ball. Now, hopefully this, first game against Portland State, even though their FCS team, is just a sign of things to come. Oregon, you got to play better defense, and that starts with Dan Lanning and Taj Lupoy. So, Oregon is favored by 6.5 points. Pay attention. Oregon is favored by 6.5 point over under 68.5. If Oregon look as good as they looked last week, and Texas Tech lost to Wyoming last week, why would our friends out west, a.k.a. the odds makers, have this only as a 6.5 game? What do they know? What do we don't know? Magical things happen in the sport that we love, week in and week out. The moment that we think we understand something, we don't. That's this sport that we love and we care about and we cherish so much. The moment we think we understand something, we don't. Oregon, based on what we've seen this season, is the better team. Clearly, no debate. They played 10 times, Oregon will win 8 or 9 times. But that 1 or 2 times that they will win will be this game. Magical things happen in our sport. Magical things happen in Lubbock. I believe the crowd will be a key factor in this game. Somehow, this game will be a thrilling game. Somehow, this game will probably be game of the week. Somehow, Texas Tech will find a way to win this game 38-35. And then everything we thought we know, we didn't know. We'd be like, yo, what? How do they lose to Wyoming and beat Oregon? That'll be the storyline. But you heard it here first. I got Texas Tech by 3 with the over and under gave you. I believe they're going to go over 68.5. It's going to be a damn good game. Next up, y'all know what it is. This game got top billing. 2 teams played last season. That's right, I'm talking about Texas and Alabama. They gave us an instant classic last season, and the one lasting thing I remember talking about last season was like, yo, if that play wasn't called on the goal line, and we know about the if word. If was a fifth, we'll all be drunk. Y'all know the saying. My father has another saying. I just can't say that, or they get rid of the governor of college football. Anyway, they gave us a classic game, but down on the goal line, like Sark and company called like a weird play, and it was the play that viewers got hurt on. And I think, what if they just called a different play? How differently would the outcome of that game be? Would Bryce Young had a chance to go down and get that victory at the end of the game? It's just a couple of things I thought about last season, but that was last season. Let's talk about this season. Let's talk about this matchup. This reminds me of, it has game of the year implications, and we're only a week 2, granted. We got so many more weeks. But it reminds me of that November 5th game that I remember oh so well, because my fiance and I were putting up our tree, yes, on November 5th. Judges, if you want, I don't care. It was more so me than her. She's a Halloween fan. I'm a Christmas fan. Anyway, it reminds me of that November 5th game where Tennessee came to Athens, and many people other than media in Athens had Tennessee winning this game. A lot of people were quite confident that Tennessee was going to win this game. This is what that reminds me of. That's what reminds me of, because Tennessee offense was potent. Like, they were striking. This was right before Tennessee had a few injuries. Like, it just had that type of feel to it, and this game just has that type of feel to it. But for some strange reason, Nick Saban, yes, I'm getting mad, and the Crimson Tide, in my opinion, have been a little bit disrespected in some regard. Like Nick Saban isn't be trusted anymore. Like when we start doing that? I said this last year and I say it again. One of my favorite sayings from last year. The best thing that happened for college football, Alabama not making the college football playoff. The worst thing that happened to college football was Alabama not making the college football playoff. And I felt that way because Nick Saban was fired up. We all remember the David Pollack comment at the national championship when we seen the look. Or if looks could kill, David Pollack would have been dead, Holmes. I'm trying to tell you. But Nick Saban hit the recruiting trail with the guns ablazing. And I feel like this is going to be Nick Saban's Roy Jones, y'all must have forgot moment. And I think it's going to happen this game. Let's talk about Alabama. One of the biggest storylines for the Crimson side coming into the season was who's going to be their starting quarterback. My initial thought after Tyler Buckner transfer was like, hey, yo, Tommy Rees is there. Tommy Rees must be telling Tyler Buckner something. That's why he's coming there. So, hey, he has to be the favorite to win the starting quarterback job. But last week, we seen what happened to Jalen Milroe. He's the guy. I think Jalen Milroe played within a system last week. I think he's the first system quarterback that Alabama's had in a while. And I don't know if you guys know what I mean by system quarterbacks. Like, I feel like you can almost plug and play a Mac Jones into any system. You see what I'm saying? Where like Jalen Milroe would just play within the system. What he is asked to do, he would do. Bryce Young and Mac Jones can make plays off script. That's what I mean. Jalen Milroe can too, because he's a dual threat quarterback. But I think Nick Saban trusts him. I think he's going to do what Nick Saban asked him to do. Chase McKellen has to be dynamic in order for Alabama to win this game. We seen that 81-yard run he had last year against Texas. Beautiful run, 81-yard scamper. Another question I had for the Clemson Tide coming into the season was the wide receiver room. It's something that me and my guy Nino talked about quite often. And it's something that Nino always brings up when he talks about this game, because Nino believes Texas is going to win this game. But I think the guy will be Jermaine Burton this year. We'll see. But I'm thinking that's going to be the guy. And with that offensive line that Alabama has, it's going to be a very physical team. Last week against Rice, Texas offensive line allowed a little bit much. Had a little bit too much. Allowed a little bit too much pressure than I expected. I don't know why. And with Dallas Turner and company coming to town, you got to be real careful. You got to be real careful. I believe, and I firmly believe this, that Texas is one of the best rosters in all of college football. I believe scouts and fans agree. I believe Quinn Ewers is a guy that with time can be a surgeon, that if he sees the moment this year, his draft stock could go through the roof, and it may surprise you where he gets drafted that next season. And the main reason for it is really who he has at wideout. Bonafide dudes at wideout. And Xavier Worthy, I've been high on Xavier Worthy for years now, and A.D. Mitchell. Xavier Worthy got behind Alabama secondary quite a few times last season. The only issue was they couldn't get him the ball for some way, shape, or form. Some of it was because Quinn Ewers got hurt, but he just kept getting behind their second. It was amazing to see. They got Kool-Aid McKinstry back there. He's getting behind the secondary. Like, what's really going on? So, Jadon Blue, Jonathan Brooks, and C.J. Baxter, I like that running back trio. You add Jatavion Sanders at tight end. If NCAA message, I'm looking directly at the camera. If NCAA message, of course we got Revant, but if NCAA came out on time, the team I would have been using is Texas. With all these weapons on offense, hey, y'all gonna have to stop me. It's too many weapons. It's a plethora of weapons. They got so much talent offensively. The one thing I dislike about this matchup has nothing to do with the matchup. It's these stupid graphics that broadcast networks show. I don't know what's my beef with them. I don't know why I dislike them so much. But it's like, they show the graphic of, Nick Saban versus, coaches that used to coach for him. Every time they play Ole Miss, every time they play Texas, they got to show these dumb graphics. Who cares? I don't care. Maybe people care. I don't care. It's just like those kicking graphics. I hate when as a Buffalo Bills fan, if Buffalo's playing Sunday and Bass is having a great season, don't put that stupid graphic up. They put the stupid graphic up. This kicker's 19-19 this season. Put the stupid graphic up. The kicker misses the kick. I don't know. I kind of got off subject there, but it's just something that I hate about it. So, Alabama's favored by 7. Over-under is 54.5. Nick Saban has a point to prove. He got a point to prove to national media because people like Paul Feinbaum. I respect him, but come on, Paul Feinbaum. He's going to put the nation on notice. Give me Bama 38-27. This has been a fun episode. I hope you guys are truly enjoying the Governor of College Football. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. A lot of you are newer. This is what we do. But not only this is what we do in season, this is what we do off season as well. As I always like to say, do something nice for somebody you normally wouldn't do. Always pay it forward. Peace and love. Peace and blessings. And until next time, y'all already know what it is. Welcome to the Governor of College Football.